Welcome to our basketball coaching class presented by Basketball Immersion, where we provide a platform for top basketball coaches to dive deep into the details. Excited to welcome Carlos Frade to the basketball coaching class. Frade is the founder and CEO of SmartBall, a company that focuses on game skills and player development. He has extensive European coaching experience at the professional development and national team levels. Most recently, he worked with EuroLeague team Alba Berlin, where he was the player development coach and coordinator. He worked with Alba Berlin from 2017 to 2024, where he was the player development coach and coordinator. He's also served in head and assistant coaching roles across Spain, Latvia, Hungary, Germany, and in top leagues like the ACB, Euro Cup, and VTB. Carlos, welcome to the basketball coaching class.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much.
Well, you and I had the good fortune of watching you work a whole bunch of years ago now when you were at Alba Berlin and got a chance to watch. And the thing that stood out with me, obviously impressed me on so many levels, but you always incorporated decision making in a lot of your player development stuff. So maybe talk to us before you get started with the video about the importance of that.
Yeah, you're right. It was a little while ago. And yeah, the basic foundation of all the work I do is based on decision making because, in my opinion, everything has to be based on decision making. So I've been evolving through the years. When I was younger, and less experienced. I didn't do that much, that type of work, but as years progressed, I realized how much time I was wasting in my practices and how many things I was doing that they were not really transferred to the game. And I was thinking, God, I'm practicing this and this is nice and this is nice. And then I saw the players playing because at the end of the day, this is what matters. And the players could not do the stuff, right? And so obviously in this case, as a coach, I always think it's my fault and it's my responsibility to try to find ways so the players incorporate the tools to their game, because we often forget that the skills training is only for one reason, so the players can do it in games and improve and be better. And we often forget that. Coaches and trainers often forget that, in my opinion, and they do things that almost impossible to do in games, which I did in the past too. So it's not rare. After all this thinking, then I was developing and trying to find ways to do things that they were actually going to be important for them in games and that actually could help them in the short term and in the long term, and try to get both ideas together, because you have to give immediate tools to the players that they can use and get better right away, but also that has to be part of a long-term process, of a long-term view of how that person wants to be in a few years. And so once you decide all this, then I kept thinking on this idea, thinking and try to do the things that happen more on the court. And basically my method has been evolving in the last years to the fact that this is what I've been doing the last years too. The most of my training is based on the decisions we make on the catch, because I was thinking, look, what is the action that happens the most in games? What is the player with the ball does the most in games? And some people say, shooting, playing one-on-one, or passing, or whatever. And that is not true. What actually happens the most is the accumulation of all those, which happens when the player catches the ball. So basically, the decisions the players make when they're catching the ball, to me, is become the foundation of all the skill work I do, and how to link the action of catching the ball with the decision you make and with the action that you actually do, whether it's dribble, pass, or shoot, and try to make that be part of the player and play with the flow and play with the continuity without rushing the movements and without losing control of the balance of the body and balance of the mind. Has been my obsession in the last years. That's what I've been basically doing. I've tried to summarize as best possible.
I love it. You make so many great points there, and I love your obsession. Obviously, we're linked in with the same obsessions. The best part is, too, that we have some video here to be able to show us some of these ideas that you are working with. Please, let's share some of the video and talk us through a little bit of what you're doing.
Yeah, very simple drills. Everything in practice has to start with very simple moves, where I normally teach players very simple ideas, try to help them to do simple ideas with basic in one-on-one. To me, the concept of stop and go and change the speed and control when you do that is very important. And then linked with a very simple finish. In this case, we finish with the same leg. We try to go left and then try to do different things. Now, in this case, left foot, right hand, and try to have different ideas. Right? And basically what we try to work on is I break down the skills in small little parts, try to put them into place one by one, and then put them all together with the decision that you make, trying to actually transfer that to the reality. First, 1-on-0, 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-2. Okay, on this second part of the drill, we do a very simple drill that we normally do. Is what I told you before, right? We do the action of catching the ball. In this case, very simple action because the closeout is coming from in front. And it's really easy. But you can see how here Jonas Matis, our EuroLeague player in Berlin for a few years, catching the ball, looking at the defender, is already looking up. He's not really focusing his attention on the ball. He's focusing his attention on this to decide whether he's going to shoot, drive left or drive right. So he decides to shoot. Because to me, the foundation of everything of the decision making is how you establish the priorities. Yeah. Because when you play one-on-one and when you teach players one-on-one, you have to eliminate the hesitations they have at the moment of the catch. And to eliminate the hesitation, you have to establish priorities. And to me, the priority is always the shot. It's always the possibility to receive and be able to shoot. And you have to do that with a good body balance, with a good footwork, and everything starts down with your feet. And in these cases, we're watching different clips where the players raise a hand and try to approach, or normally players challenge the shot with one hand, which is 99% of the times is the same foot stepped up, and this is where we look for attacking that hand and that foot. And then priority is to shoot. So if you cannot shoot the first one, drive. And now if you can shoot right away, drive. I am a little bit against this current no mid-range shooting. I love mid-range shooting for many reasons, for development especially, because I think the mid-range shooting is the foundation of be a solid three-point shooter in the future. And you need to be very good at mid-range to be a very good three-point shooter, my opinion, especially when you're working with young guys developing their skills. So here, Christoph now is at Ohio State University, drives, and if the second defender, you're beating the first guy, if the second defender doesn't arrive in time, they just go and shoot. It's a good shot, open shot, is a nice percentage. And in this case, they get good position, and easy decision.
So they're
And if the
reading the
second
first
defender,
defender, and then the second defender is the second line of help. Are those defenders live, or are they just stimulating a decision right now?
and this part of the drill is a decision, is a in light, it's not real 100% at all. It's just to keep working on this decision, because that depends a lot on the moment of the week, the moment of the season, when you do it. Sometimes in professional basketball in Europe, these players at these seasons, they had 80 games in the season, a lot of travel, a lot of practices, and the practices before the team practice cannot really be very demanding physically, and we have to do the drills in a certain way that cannot be loading their bodies too much. And here you see the second defender is arriving too, so he tries to beat him on the same side and try to apply the finishing we've worked before on the on zero part.
Yeah, it's such an important concept to understand as coaches is that not everything has to be full intensity. And in some cases, it helps them transfer more just simply by adding the decision making and those type of scenarios where they have to read whether the first or the second line of help. Great example there, coach.
Yeah, exactly. For me, actually, the quality is more important than the intensity. And there's moments for everything. And for instance, many practices I did with players that didn't play. We have 15 players, so there's three that didn't play during the game. In one given opportunity, they just sit out. And then in that day, you have to go a hard practice and you have to apply the skills to a really hard practice, going demanding and getting them under really exhaustion and moving and running and sprinting and jumping and everything. But this is different. And the most of my work was done pre-team practice and post-team practices. And in those cases, you have 15, 20 minutes to pay attention to details that they have to build first on that stage to move later to the 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and to the rest of the team practice.
Beautiful. Okay, let's go to a different video.
Okay.
This is really good.
So we can do this. Let me check. No, not 100% sure we can do that because this is the passing with Jonas and Jason Granger. And this I could emphasize the importance of passing in me and the randomness of the reactions of the passing. So this could be a short one
Okay.
because actually, really for me, everything is down to passing. And
Yep.
it's a very uncommon thing on coaches because often, oh, this is something blue. It's strange, right? You
Yeah.
see this blue?
Yeah. I don't know why that's happening either. Let's not do that one.
No, no, no.
Maybe that
Yeah,
pick and roll. Isn't there guided defense there?
yeah, this is the one.
Let's do that.
Yeah, this one.
Okay.
They have to read first. They have to read the
Yeah,
defense.
let me cue you and you can explain it. Go back to the beginning if you want. All right, cool. Coach, I know a lot of teams obviously are using pick and roll, so maybe take us through some of the different things you do in pick and roll, and particularly with that guided defense focus.
Okay, very basic drill. In this case, we have the two players on the player with the ball, his defender, work on different types of defense, right? You have to show the type of defense that you want to improve, explain to the players. Obviously, at this level, they know how to do their job on the screens. And so they have to go under, over, pushing, not pushing, whatever. So number one is work on the skills on the defender, regarding the defender on the ball. And after, regarding, now in this case, it's me as a coach doing like a second read on the big, what the big would do in a drop step. Like this is a very simple read also, trying to work on going through the screen, the kind of hostage dribble against the guard, and then reaction of reading against the big. and again, practicing different types of finish. And we complete the drill with a shot from the defender. That's something I like to do a lot after the drills where the players do the defensive part, just go out there and shoot and have some certain type of challenges with the shooting also. And with the players have experience, that shot becomes also a reaction of my decisions when they receive the ball. So here we work on that first part. And in this case, I make a correction on the technique of the hostage dribble with the bad use of the not dribble in the hand, because often the players grab and foul. And here, Dumehor with the hips, he's doing better on controlling that. And then the other player getting out to shoot. Okay, I normally, yeah, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say that's such a great point that you just showed. Like, it's actually easier to teach technique because they are learning it in the context in which they're doing it versus the defender, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you have to actually work on reality as much as possible, not on the intensity on the rhythm, but yes, on the presence of the body. So first, again, first on zero days with one defender. Normally, with me, with a coach, that is not real, but it's an obstacle. It's somebody there. And later I use another player for them, which is more real because it's like heavier, more athletic and everything. And then we go more real between them. And then, so there's several stages to try to transfer what you want to do on zero into the reality of the game. And I have done, I like to, I've made so many years making mistakes. And I still do, obviously, but I made more mistakes in the past. And I think, and I was always thinking why I didn't transfer this. And many times the answer was that the method of training wasn't good. The method of training did not allow the players to transfer to the next stage and to go from 1-0 to 5-5. There is many points in the middle, and you have to be patient. You have to give time for the things to settle, to get into the brain of the players, and to be learned and to be interiorized. And if things don't go from 1-0 to 5-5 quickly, it's because maybe we're missing points in the middle.
I love this. The key part, and the research tells us this, is that the perception part of the training is what actually helps a player transfer it to the game situation. So if we don't have perception, we don't have decision making, and if we don't have decision making, we don't have transfer. So you've said that, you've shown that, and it's really good to be able to see that and hear you talk about it. I know you have one last thing that you want to show us, and that's a little bit of the passing because I know you're big on passing. So maybe show us your passing activity. Is that cool?
Yeah,
You
super,
want,
super. And get
yeah.
me
Show
perfect.
us
Let me
one of
see.
your passing ones that you
I
like,
don't
and
get I get the right one or not.
yeah,
No, this wasn't. Wait a
let me do
second.
that.
Oh, yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the one.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to a certain extent, like, what is this a warm up type thing? We're off. We're not recording yet. But is this a warm up type
Yeah,
thing you would do? Okay.
yeah. This actually is part of one of the routines I teach the players to do dribbling exercises with two balls. And I remember when I early in my career, some coaches of that era were totally against dribbling with two balls, and I am totally for dribbling with two balls in practice. And but then obviously, like I said before, we have to transfer that to one ball. You can just not leave the drill there. And dribbling with two balls, I have a routine of drills that players do on their own first and then do with others. So I normally have a player with two balls and me an extra ball. So it's one player with three balls or two players with five balls. And basically, what I will show here
Okay,
is
let me
that,
cue you. Hold on. I'm not recording. All right. Let me cue you. Okay, coach, we can see it. Players with two balls, and you said this is a fun part of a warm up.
yeah, I love this type of drills for warm up because combine fun with concentration. Because I'm going to explain to you how this drill goes, but it's part of one wider range of drills. But basically, if you're not fully focused, you cannot do it. It's just impossible because it includes signals from different sources and different things. So basically, what we do in this drill is that there's two players with two balls each and me with an extra ball, so it's five. All right, so they have to pass the ball to the coach whenever they see either my hand looking at them with eye contact, not my hand without eye contact, their hand with eye contact, or I pass the ball to them. In both cases, they have to pass to me. But sometimes I show you see, I pass the ball, they have to pass back, they pass to me, I pass to me, bam. So I just keep throwing the ball at them, moving the ball, faking, passing. And sometimes what I do is also showing a hand, so they have to pass the ball to each other. So the other source of signals in this case is when you actually, you see, I have one ball in my hand, I show the other hand, so they has to pass the ball to me. And in this case, if I pass the ball to the other player, they have to pass to each other. Okay, so it's an extra source. That and the signal is coming from one source, is coming from other source. And as we are moving randomly in different places, sometimes it's going to be left, sometimes it's going to be right. Sometimes you have to pass with the left or with the right to the same side, to the opposite side. Sometimes the pass is behind the back, under the legs. Sometimes it's a hook pass. You practice all type of things because also depending on where my signals are, you have to do one type of pass.
I love this. This is the basketball decision training stuff, the cues that present. And again, I emphasize to the coaches all the time is like the game is visual, it's not verbal. So giving visual cues helps a player, again, transfer more of what they're doing to a game because that's how the game is played.
Exactly. And I was many times, many years as a coach, as a head coach, assistant coach, talking about voice signals. And voice signals is, in fact, a way of cheating in my mind. So when I do drills with the players and they help each other with voice, I tell them, no, don't help. Wait so that he can see or she can see, and it's got to look and it has to be aware. At the end of the day, and this drill I have done also with 3 players and 7 balls, and so improve and the awareness a lot more. Actually, I'm going to tell you one thing. In Alba, for years, we were doing this part of a warm-up of the pre-game workouts with the young players, with Jonas Matistek, Malte Delo, with Franz Wagner, with Tim Schneider, with Elias Rapike, with all the young guys that I had through in Alba. We practiced 30 minutes before home games to get ready. And this mental practice, this quickness of the mind, this focus, because it's low intensity physically, but it's very demanding mentally, and help them a lot to wake up, to get ready, to actually stay focused and be prepared.
I love that. I've always said, like, don't have to warm up decision making. And decision making is part of the warm up. So let's include it. We don't have to get there, we can start there. And that's such a
I'm
great
gonna,
example.
even more things, Chris, I'm going to tell you. In the last years, I'm even evolving more into this and try to actually break down the game to all the possible two-on-ones that happen into the game in half-court offense, especially not only transition, not only quick action, but in half-court offense. And all of them have to do with passing at the right time to the right place. The success of those actions, obviously. If the player with the ball finish, then it's nothing else. It does that. But the most of the times involve the passing. But how many times we see in games there is a player driving on the baseline, there is the help of the big helps and pass to the big, pass to the teammate under basket, and the pass is late, is out of the target, does not get to the teammate, etc. So this is just one example of with these simple drills before in the warm-up, you practice the main concept for me on passing, which is not pass quick, but pass early. The concept of starting your reaction when you see what the defense is doing or what your teammate is doing, start early. And this is a mental training. You got to practice every day these early reactions so the player doesn't make that extra bounce that destroys the timing of the pass, or that extra step that destroys the timing of the pass and allows the next defender to arrive in the rotation and steal the pass.
Just stop sharing your screen for a sec, coach, as I wrap you up. This has been awesome.
In a second,
You
I don't
just
know
shut
how.
it. Yeah. Just, oh, go to
Uh,
share and stop sharing, I think, too.
yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Awesome. This is awesome. This is really good. I'm gonna have you back on for the podcast in the winter, if you don't mind, and maybe you can help promote what you're doing too with your business stuff. But do you want me to cue you
Bobby,
a little
thank
bit to
you.
talk about your business?
Okay, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Smart ball, right? Smart ball.
SmartBall.
Okay. Carlos, I'm so happy I finally had you on. Awesome stuff that you're sharing for coaches. And talk to us a little bit about your new venture, Smart Ball.
Yeah, it's a gradual process that happening in my life as I was dedicating my last years just to player development and skills development and just try to make the players and the coaches better. So basically what I'm doing now is I formed my own company trying to help players individually and clubs and federation also on developing their players. And what I do basically is one different parts. One is what I was doing for players, and now I do it privately for players that work in and play in different teams. Some players are in EuroLeague teams, some players are in Germany, some players are in college in NCAA, some players are different places, and try to help them with the details of the different things that we normally work during the summer and keep following up those details during the season. Also, I try to be a help on the clubs that require external advisor as a player development, because actually in Europe, in the States it's big still a long time ago, but in Europe it's becoming very big in the last years. And 10 years ago, when we started this project in Berlin, there was almost nobody, just a few teams in Europe, a few clubs in Europe had it. And I think that and give me a very little advantage on and a few years of experience doing something in the club that others didn't do. And so I'm getting now requests from different clubs, different helps to go and help them to how to do it, how to organize the club, like in terms of practices, coaches, players, etc. And I love it. I love it because that gives me a possibility to share the knowledge and share how I do things. And some of these ideas may be very helpful for them. Some of them, they might not be helpful, but it's part of it. And also I often do clinics and conferences and talks in different places in Europe, in America, and in different places. I have been very lucky so far. So trying to share how I see basketball, how I see the teaching, how I see the learning.
I love it. And we're grateful for you for sharing with us. And coaches, this is not the last you'll hear from me and Carlos. We'll do some other stuff together coming up and really excited for that. But thank you for sharing the game with us in the basketball coaching class.
Thank you very much. Very happy to do it.
Thanks for watching the basketball coach class. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And check out luciosports.com and basketballimmersion.com today.